are the first
Yes.
Chief Growth Officer for the state of Michigan. What does that mean, Hilary Doe?
Good question.
Are you still figuring that out?
I think we figured it out. But yeah, I'm the first Chief Growth Officer for the state, but also the first Chief Growth Officer of any state in the country. So even more rare, I guess. And the reason that matters is because Michigan's really the first state that's taking on this challenge of population growth truly head on. It's the kind of multifaceted, complex challenge that you really need to think about in kind of an ecosystem approach comprehensively. So I'm really proud that we were willing to be first in doing that. So all to say, the task is to grow Michigan's population.
Right.
And how we get that done is by wrapping arms around our community, retaining our folks, attracting new folks here, but also boosting our economy and telling our story, making sure everybody in Michigan and folks across the country and arguably around the world know Michigan is a great place to call home.
Yeah. So I was born and raised here in this state, and I was talking to someone actually when the first papers from CRC came out in the audience here, and we have talked a lot about this idea that since I was born, every single year in school, it was always so easy when the question was, what's the population of Michigan? Because it never changed. It was 10 million. And I'm curious, with that dynamic, with governor after governor having these conversations, why is this moment and how is this time going to be different?
Yeah, well, this moment's really unique. I mean, partly because of some of these first in the nation actions that we're taking, right? It is really unique. The governor also named the Growing Michigan Together Council at the same time that I was announced. So a statewide effort we have 4 work groups, maybe 90 people involved across the state, really digging in and thinking about from infrastructure to jobs to higher ed to pre-K-12, what's all the work that we can do to improve the product that is Michigan and ensure we have a really strong value prop for our young folks here in the state and young folks across the country that are thinking of, the place that they want to call home. So we're taking a really data-driven approach. We're looking at what cities have done that have been really successful at this across the country, but we're also listening to Michiganders across the country. We will have done more than 70 public engagement events between the end of August and the end of November here. So we're in a real sprint, doing a lot of listening. What growth looks like for the Upper Peninsula or Grand Rapids or Detroit, they will all look really different. Our folks' dreams about what they want their communities to look like are really different, and we need to pay attention to that so we can build nuanced growth strategies to drive us forward, and so that we have a strong value prop to make, again, to young folks who are thinking about where they want to land long-term and build their families, and Michigan will be at the top of that list.
Well, let's funnel in then on one of those pillars as we're talking about education here at Henry Ford. What are you hearing about the needs of folks?
Yeah, so in particular, as some of you know, to layer us in stats, first of all, thank you to CRC for their intellectual leadership on some of this.
Eric Lufer is here. We need to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. To give us just some general sense, if we did nothing, Michigan would grow at about 1/3 of the national growth rate. And that means that we'll have a challenge, right? We'll see communities who are struggling to maintain their quality of life and investment in their public services. Some of our rural communities have been a canary in the coal mine for this and have been really vocal about it. But we'll also miss a chance, potentially, to take advantage of some of the big opportunities that Michigan has, that we're at the precipice of, that we have a right to be at the vanguard of, I would argue. When I think about our state, we're so strategically positioned with our natural resources, our world's longest freshwater coastline, I always try to get that one in, but also our people, our history, our manufacturing might. We're so well positioned to lead the country in the green transformation, to push forward on advanced manufacturing, novel technology, and we just can't rise to that occasion, right, without a workforce that's ready to go. I can dig into what people are saying, but wanted to start there.
This is the thing. I love it. You are such a cheerleader for this admission. Should we show everybody your?
Oh, sure. It's become infamous. It's both
Michigan
peninsulas,
tattoo,
very important. My tattoo, but also when I was living in New York, it was so funny because I'm a boomerang. I grew up downriver, a product of generations of Michiganders who were living the Michigan dream, and then I left the state for 10 years. Most of that time was in Brooklyn. And when I got the tattoo when I was living in Brooklyn, and people would see it, the number of New Yorkers who asked me if it was a shark was truly jarring. I worried about the state of our education and geography. But now that I'm back, everyone knows we're Michigan.
So you are trumpeting the story of the state, but one of the things that we are talking about is the need to have other folks do that, right? And we can do that, but what we need when we're talking about the next generation, how do we get those folks to sort of cheerlead staying here? Because one of the conversations that we're also having is maybe you come and you get that 4-year degree, and then like yourself, you leave.
Yeah.
How do we get people to stay? How do
Yeah.
we get them back? And how can education and higher ed play
Yeah.
a role in that?
Yeah, so I think it's really critical. The reason we started with listening is because, and the reason that this job is so exciting from my perspective, I feel so honored to get the chance, is because you can't just do the marketing side. We can't just tell a different story and tell folks just to tell their story, though that's critical. You should brag about Michigan if you love Michigan, because I know many of you do. But we also have to back it up by really listening to folks when they think about where they want to call home, what's in the way when they imagine their future between today and Michigan being the place that they want to be long term, where they see the biggest opportunity for them. And do the work to make sure that we're being responsive to that, right? So the Growing Michigan Together Council is a great first step. I'm coming most recently from running a tech company, from a startup. So I've been joking, hey, this is product improvement, right? We're listening and we're doing the structural policy reform work to ensure that we're making our higher ed system even better and deliver better outcomes, our pre-K-12 system even better. What I'm hearing when we're traveling the state from young folks is that they care about access to 21st century opportunity. They need to be able to see a pathway to having real opportunity here in our state. Placemaking is critical, so they want places and communities they can be in that are walkable, that include transit, that have housing opportunity. We can get that done here. And the third thing is that, more and more, especially when we're talking about Gen Z, folks want purpose in their life. They want purpose with their family members. They want to be leaning into doing work that has purpose, that they see the purpose in. And we are makers and innovators in this state. We always have been. And we're at the precipice of helping solve yet another challenge, right? And leading us forward in this green transformation. That's a case we can make to the whole country. We can say to young folks across the country, hey, you want to decarbonize the world? We're going to do that here in Michigan.
I could talk to you for like hours about this. We only have a couple more seconds. So as we wrap, what I'm really curious from you is like, what is success going to look like?
Yeah, I'd say the first step in success is having everybody at the table, truly. You can't get this done with one program. We can't be fickle. We can't lean into it for 6 months and then move on. We need the state and folks across our state from diverse regions and diverse backgrounds, diverse lived experiences to say, hey, yeah, let's lean in and get this done together. It is a group project. So if I can plug one thing, we do have QR codes out in the lobby, and for anyone who's watching at growingmichigan.org, you can let us know your ideas, the challenges that are in the way, because we're really listening. I think that's the first step. And then the sort of nerdier answer is that we're tracking. The first step will be seeing our net migration go positive. In order to grow the population, you need to win the net migration battle. We need more folks joining us than we see leave. And we currently are an outward migrator for domestically. So of the folks leaving the state for job-related reasons, we're seeing about 40 to 45% of those folks be 18 to 34-year-olds who are, seeking an opportunity elsewhere. Yeah. We need to turn that around. We're focused on it. And I believe with this kind of first in the nation, approach, we're going to get it done.
Yeah. Watch One Detroit, Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.